Welcome to Generation Movie New Release Friday on a Friday afternoon. One of the most eagerly anticipated Fridays for moviegoers of the year. So super excited to be here. Happy to be here. We're going to talk about a couple things. Good evening. Happy weekend from Joe. Good evening. Happy weekend, everybody, as well. I'm super excited. We actually have two movies opening this weekend that are very anticipated in their own rights. One is about to be the biggest, one of the biggest movies of the year, and it's great and it deserves to be seen. But I wanted to at least start today with a rest in peace. We lost one of the truly, not Rob Reiner, we lost one of the truly great ones. Chuck Norris passed away in Hawaii. And I just think it's an interesting kind of sadness. One, it became a meme and all these different things. And the Chuck Norris memes were hilarious, but his rest in peace, Chuck Norris. What I will say is, I think, when you look at his career and you look at how prolific he was, he passed away at 86. Some of the great internet message board things, when Chuck Norris does push-up and pushes the earth down, Chuck Norris can divide by zero. Chuck Norris once had a heart attack, his heart lost. Chuck Norris can strangle the cordless phone. Chuck Norris makes onions cry. There was once a street named after Chuck Norris, but the name was changed as nobody crosses Chuck Norris and lives. Chuck Norris has a polar bear rug at his home. It's not dead, it's just afraid to move. When the boogeyman goes to sleep, he checks his closet for Chuck Norris. There's no chin between Chuck Norris's beard. There's only another fist. And survivors rumors about people on with Chuck Norris that were near survivors. But I think one of the interesting things, his career started early in 1968. He worked, broke in on the Greenhorn television show. He was then in the really cool Matt Helm films he was in The Wrecking Crew. Then he was cast in 1972 in Way of the Dragon, where he had a fight with Bruce Lee. And it's one of the all-time greatest action fight scenes in film history. He then rose to fame. So then he gets A Force of One. He gets The Octagon, makes a movie called Silent Rage. And then in 1984, he makes a movie called Missing in Action, which is one of the great, underrated kind of 80s action films. Definitely with a kind of a right-wing swing to it. He also made a movie called Code of Silence, which is a great cop movie from 1985. He basically was an 80s icon in the same breath as Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Bruce Willis, Harrison Ford, Kurt Russell, but he never got to those heights. In 86, he started in the Delta Force with Lee Marvin. The box office success, had a ton of sequels, but it wasn't greatly reviewed. And as his star dimmed a little bit, he ended up in 1990s action television, where he starred in Walker, Texas Ranger, where he became an icon for a whole new generation. A procedural about the Texas Rangers. And it was a smash hit. It wasn't just a small hit. It ran for 9 seasons. It had over 200 episodes. It had reboots and spin-offs and all kinds of things. And so he was, he just kind of lived it, but he never got as big as the main 80s icons. He just didn't. And that's okay. I say rest in peace, Chuck Norris, today. May watch a Chuck Norris movie or two tonight. My two favorites of his early stuff. I love Code of Silence. It's a really cool Chicago cop movie. And another one is called Silent Rage, which is basically Chuck Norris versus a psychotic killer who's a Michael Myers clone. So it's, if you had Chuck Norris fighting Michael Myers, it's similar because the guy he's impenetrable. He can't be hurt. And I just think it's one of those things where he wasn't the biggest icon. He wasn't the biggest star, but he was good in his day, and then he found a new audience in the 90s, right? Walker Texas Ranger is still running in syndication somewhere, even though we've gotten rid of cable and everything. And and then he became not the butt of jokes, but like he's cooler than the jokes, right? The idea that you're doing all these Chuck Norris things. Firewalker was the action adventure movie with Louis Gossett Jr. Firewalker was that movie. That's another one. Like he had a ton of movies in the 80s, just an absolute ton of movies. Some people might also know him from Sidekicks, which is another one of those movies that just hit in the right time. And he was like, he apparently was a funny guy. He understood the memes, got a kick out of them. And, rest in peace, Chuck Norris. It will be, we're going to have it for all of our big action stars at some point. He was 86, and just, it makes me kind of sad, and we'll see what happens. And let's get to New Release Friday. And New Release Friday we're going to start with the biggest new release of this Friday. And it's this movie called Project Hail Mary. It's Ryan Gosling, Sandra Hüller. It's based on an Andy Weir book. Andy Weir, of course, is the author that wrote The Martian. And this movie, it is lengthy. I am going to warn people early. But basically what it's about is they discover that the sun is dying. And Ryan Gosling plays a school teacher that is also, he's a failed molecular biologist. And so what happens is he gets kind of drafted in because he writes a crazy paper. And basically it's drafted into this program where they're studying our sun dying. And he is then, through chance and circumstance, thrust into going on this mission to find out why our sun is dying. And along the way, it's big, grand sci-fi filmmaking. It is beautiful on a large screen. It is thought-provoking. It runs about 2 hours and 36 minutes, so prepare accordingly. But it's just got something. Gosling, he kind of wakes up in from suspended animation. And then he goes about on a series of trying to figure out why these particular things are happening to our sun. And along the way, he makes a friend. And that is the friend Ship. And the friend, you can see in the poster here a little bit. He's a little guy right there. He's a little like a spider-looking guy. His name's Rocky, and Rocky is a scene stealer. Rocky is also going to be one of the breakout stars in the movie. He is endearing and lovely, and I say the best alien since E.T. And so this movie is kind of a fusion of The Martian and the principles in that movie, deep, hard-cutting sci-fi, fused with the getting to know you kind of structure of E.T. and two different life forms coming together trying to save their worlds. And so it is indeed a Hail Mary. There are a plethora of great performances in the movie. Sandra Hüller in particular is spectacular. She plays the scientist in charge of Project Hail Mary. The movie is directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who are very, very good at their jobs. They've made a lot of great big movies. And this is another one. This is another one of those movies where you look up and they are a filmmaking duo that has made, movies that are doing very well. Like you don't necessarily know everything they're involved at, but they've been producing for a while. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, they're directed and wrote. 21 Jump Street, they directed. Lego Movie, Lego Batman movie, they produced. Solo, a Star Wars, they executive produced. But they're most known for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movies, Lego Movie Part 2, Mitchell's versus Machines, they've been producers on, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. They are filmmakers extraordinaire right now. They're very high on the list. And this movie, it tugs at your heartstrings. It's got exciting sci-fi. It's got incredible visuals that you need to see in a theater. It's shot in IMAX. It's got big visuals, big sound, great special effects. Rocky is the coolest thing going. Rocky is he's gonna be a breakout star. I know we saw Grogu at the Oscars last week, but I would not be surprised if next year we see Rocky at the Oscars somehow, some way, some form. He is a design, and he's intricate, and they find a way to communicate, and it's just beautiful friendship. And the movie's about friendship. The movie's about what you can be, what you maybe as life crushes you back, maybe not doing all the things that you can feel you can do. And somehow life puts things in front of you that you have to do. And Gosling it's very much his film, and he plays Ryland Grace. He wakes up from a coma on a spacecraft, and it goes from there. It, asks questions about how we view scientists, how we view NASA, how we view coming together. It does have a very hopeful message that in the event of tragedy or something scary happening to our planet, that somehow, some way, the human race would come together to try to save itself. With the sun dying, it essentially would create such chaos on Earth. No food, countries fighting over food, countries fighting over water, and it's a science fiction movie in the sense that it's something that could happen possibly, and so it very much has the hallmarks of great 70s sci-fi, like Silent Running, or even to a certain extent 2001, the idea of where we're going, what we're looking for, how we're getting there. But it all comes down to the human component, and the human component of Project Hail Mary is stellar. Gosling is a movie star. He's clearly great. In this movie, Rocky is a movie star. He's clearly great. And all these other side performances support the structure. Structure of the script is fantastic. I will say it is a little long. It takes a while to get where it's going, but the rewards in waiting and sticking it out with these characters is so fulfilling. It's a very life affirming movie, and it's something we desperately need. And it also is this grand sci-fi spectacle canvas that we also very much need in this moment. It's hopeful, and it's about interaction, and it's about finding a way to communicate, and it's about all of those things that make sci-fi so engaging and so the sci-fi possible. So it's a little bit like a fusion of the Martian and Silent Running and E.T., because Ryan Gosling, Grace's character, getting along with Rocky, so that they can both save their worlds. They're both heroes. They're both, they want to go home, and it's extremely well done. The book is fantastic. The movie is fantastic. It's life affirming. It's going to be one of the more talked about movies in the next couple weeks as we progress through spring and spring break. Some comments. Let's see what we got. Good afternoon, Ken. Enemy Mine. That's not that's Louis Gossett Jr. and Dennis Quaid. So no on that one. But Chuck Norris and Louis Gossett Jr. was Firewalker. But this movie it's special. It needs to be seen on a big screen. It needs to be seen with an audience. It is being distributed right now by Amazon MGM Studios. MGM is kind of having a big year. It has a huge budget. It has a scientific, the science is really kind of interesting. Everything about it is just, it's an instant classic for me. It's a movie that, I think people will, especially if you like The Martian, if you really like The Martian, this is right up, because it's science possible, and then it's science fiction, and then it's kind of like the coolest buddy film that you've seen in a while, because Rocky and Grace are amazing. Rocky is one of those creations that happens in film every once in a while, where you sit back and you go, this is why we go to the movies. We go to the movies to see heroes saving the universe. We go to the movies to see friends helping each other, and friends finding each other, and friends getting over the problems they have communicating. And it has all of those things. And it has this giant sci-fi story about the Earth dying, or sun dying, that will eventually kill the Earth, and having to go light years away and figure out what is going on and how do we stop it. And it's beautiful. It also really uses music well, as all the other Lord and Miller films do. It throws in specific songs that kind of make you just bump in your seat a little bit, and just kind of like your knees tap, and you don't even know why. But it is everything that is great about. Okay, I understand. Comparing the movie you're discussing, Enemy. Yes, Enemy Mine is a great comparison. I'm sorry, I thought, because you mentioned another Lou Gossett movie. Enemy Mine is another excellent comparison. A movie where it's about friendship, and about building, and about survival, and about kind of like overcoming obstacles in your friendship, and overcoming obstacles that the universe has pitted against you. But it's a beautiful sci-fi movie. Most of the story, it's both flashback and cutting, and the editing is excellent. It is one of the best movies of the year already. Like I said, it runs 2 hours and 36 minutes, though, so I'm giving everybody a warning that it does go long. But I think one of the joys of like a movie that has room to breathe and sets up all of these dominoes that they're going to hit later on. Project Hail Mary hits all of those dominoes perfectly. You're rooting for Grace. You're rooting for Rocky. You're rooting for the planet. You're rooting for everything. And then it's everything a movie is supposed to be. It's big, and it's loud, and it's dynamic. And it's just, aside from like my issue, I have a couple issues with the editing where it's a little bit too long. One or two endings, a little bit Return of the King-ish, in the sense that it has one or two endings too many. But I wouldn't want those endings to not exist, because they end up being great, but it doesn't end where you think it's going to end, and it kind of goes on a little bit longer. But like I said, it's the best movie of the year thus far. And Ryan Gosling is fantastic. The cast is great. Miller and Lord they're playing with a lot of cool things, and visual effects are off the charts. See it in the biggest, loudest screen possible with as many people as you can, because it's the kind of movie where everybody comes out and they're talking and they're just, wasn't it great? Like, that was great, right? I just witnessed greatness. And Project Hail Mary is that kind of like, it's the kind of movie that gets me excited about movies. Right? And I see a lot of movies. I see so many movies. And Project Hail Mary is one of those movies that gets me excited about movies. Because it's everything a movie is supposed to be. It's every component piece is there for an instant classic for Project Hail Mary. And it's needs to be seen on the biggest screen, loudest. Just needs to be seen. Is it a movie you don't realize it's that long? Django's long but quickly and held my attention the whole time. It's kind of a movie you don't realize is that long, but once we start getting to the endings, it's like, oh, it's not going to end there. It's going to go a little bit further. And then you start thinking about it a little bit. So I don't want to say you don't, but I also, like I said, the ending, everything is earned. The endings are earned. The time you spend with these characters is special. It's the kind of thing we're looking for in filmmaking. When we're watching a movie, it's what we're looking for. It's everything you're looking for in a big, huge blockbuster science fiction. It's definitely more science than science fiction, but it's stupendous. It's astounding. It's well done. Gosling's fantastic. And I can't recommend it enough. I'm going to go see it again. I haven't gone to see a movie twice in a while. I'm definitely going to see it at least twice, maybe a third time. I don't know how I feel. I saw it in Dolby. I'm going to see it in IMAX because it was filmed for IMAX screens. And then I don't know where else I'm going to see it. Okay. Another movie that's very anticipated, and actually was on my Project Hail Mary is on my most anticipated, and this movie is on my most anticipated. Another movie opening this weekend is Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, starring Samara Weaving. And a couple things. This is directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette, known as Radio Silence. They've done very well for themselves. They've had Abigail, they've had Ready or Not, the original. They've had Scream, the fifth one, and Scream 6. So they're on a little bit of a tear. Ready or Not was a really great little movie that came out a few years back and kind of got everybody's attention. Not necessarily the biggest of hits, but one of those movies that when people find it on streaming, it becomes one of their favorite movies. Basically, plot involved a girl marrying into a very wealthy family that was known for their games, like a game family, like they made board games and things. And the night of her wedding, as she's being inducted into the family, they give her an opportunity where she has to play hide or seek. And it turns out that the family's made a deal with the devil. And the hide or seek game is for keeps. She will be murdered if she is captured. And it sets in motion all like just a madcap kind of fun survival horror movie with this girl, also named Grace, by the way, played by Samara Weaving, who's the daughter of Hugo Weaving. And it was a well-received, really great movie. Nobody really thought we were going to get a sequel, but here we are. And Ready or Not 2, Here I Come opens today, and it does everything a sequel should. In this movie, basically, it turns out the ending, if you've seen if you've seen the original Ready or Not and you liked it, Ready or Not 2 will not disappoint. It is a good sequel. It is well done. It is gory and violent, and it does everything a true sequel needs to do, which is up the ante. So we find out Samara Weaving's character has a sister. We also find out that Samara Weaving winning the first movie, winning hide and seek, not a big spoiler, but winning hide and seek against the family she was pitted against, has created a cascading effect where all of the families that are running the world by Satan's control get a chance to be in charge of the entire world. And so the stakes are up. It's also up because she has her kid sister with her. We have good performances from Sarah Michelle Gellar, Sean Hatosi as one of those families. Their father is played by legendary film director David Cronenberg in a great scene. It's a fantastic scene with him and Michelle Gellar and Sean Hatosi. And the movie doesn't disappoint. It delivers. All of these families come together to hunt Samara Weaving and her kid sister down. And basically, the kid sister is somebody that the Samara Weaving character has kind of abandoned, got out of it to try to get to a better life, to get back, to get her sister back. And so there's a lot of tension between them. Catherine Newton is great as the kid's sister. And, you know, everything is up. The ante's up. So you have more than one family hunting her down. And the way the game works is it's still hide and seek. But the family each brings 3 or 4 people that are representing the family. If somebody gets taken out on the hide and seek field, another member of the family can jump into the game. So it's a little bit everything is upgraded. Everything is heightened for a sequel, which is what you're supposed to do with sequels. And it is very violent. It is funny. And again, it deals with, what our society's kind of dealing with now, which is the haves and the have-nots. And in this particular case, the haves are controlling the world by the grace of Mr. LaBelle, the quasi ghost / I think it's Satan person that set up the first game. And it's fun. It's ludicrously violent. And it does everything a good sequel needs to do, which is everything needs to be bigger. Follow Scream 2 rules. Bigger kills, more violence, a surrounding mythos that gets deeper, bigger, larger. You go from one family, the Ladomas family, who basically, ran a gaming empire, to all of these families working in a kind of a cabal to rule the world. And they've all made deals with Mr. LaBelle. They've all come to the table, so to speak. And it's fun. It heightens the mythology around the first movie. It expands on Samara Weaving's character in the right ways by giving her a kid sister and also giving her, the idea that she was joining this family in the first movie to become part of a wealthy family, knowing that she was thinking about doing it to go back and get her little sister who was stuck in foster care like she was. Again, it ups the ante on the first movie. So good sequels find a way to do all of those things. Up the ante on the kill quotients, round out the mythology so we know exactly what we're dealing with, maybe in a bigger picture. And it does it very well. And the side performances are great. Newton's great. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sean Hatosi play brother and sister, who are part of a prolific family that has been in charge of the families. And David Cronenberg is their father. And it's nonstop. It's very fun. And they came up, the idea that we've made Ready or Not in 2019 is now a big enough cult film that we now have a sequel. It's really great that the fandom is going to get to celebrate this movie. And I think everybody who loved the first one is going to love this one. It's the ante is upped. I don't know where they go if they decide to go, if it becomes a franchise. But I will say there's nothing after the credits. Also nothing after the credits for Project Hail Mary. It's a fun movie that I think has a chance to be a really big hit, in the sense that The first one was a modest hit that got to streaming, became a big, huge hit. And now we have, Samara Weaving is just great. She gets put through the meat grinder again. And, it's a perfect sequel in the sense that it does everything that you expect it to do. The radio silence guys are quickly becoming, Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette are quickly becoming go-to guys, where you can, if you see their name attached to a movie, you can trust them. You can trust the radio silence guys that they will deliver. They will deliver movies that are just, to give you an idea, Ready or Not was one of their first big ones. Phobias is another one. They were part of VHS 94, Scream 2022, VHS 99, Scream 6, and VHS 85. They just had another segment in. So they have quickly become one of the go-to kind of horror filmmakers that you can you're guaranteed a quality workmanship from, and they have good ideas, and they're fun filmmakers. There is I do want to also preface, there is a brutal scene of violence against a woman in this movie that is, it's really rough. So if you have a trigger, I want to warn people, there is a bit of a really serious violence against women scene in this movie, that I was not expecting it to be so graphic, but it is very graphic. And it's the moment when we find out that one of the characters is not only kind of goofy, but completely unhinged with no kind of moral compass. And it gets out of hand very quickly. And it's cringe inducing in the audience, because I don't think audiences are used to, women take abuse in movies, but they don't necessarily take abuse of this magnitude. And I was kind of surprised by it, but it pays off. It pays off for the movie. And so I just want to give people a warning about it, though. So, but the movie plays out fine. There's nothing at the end. There's no credit sequences. Elijah Wood is also in it. Elijah Wood is fantastic. He plays a lawyer for the LaBelle Foundation. So the LaBelle Foundation is basically the ghost that appeared in the chair in the first one. He apparently has a foundation that is run by this lawyer played by Elijah Wood, who runs all these families. So it's bigger conspiracy, bigger mythology, all of the rules, bigger kills, more people to kill, more people for Samara Weaving and her sister to get through. And it's just, it's a really good sequel. I think if you like the first one, you're really going to like this one. I think that's where I'm going to leave it at. If you enjoyed the first Ready or Not 2 more than delivers, creates a deeper mythology, has gory, violent sequences, and puts Samara Weaving's character through the meat grinder again, and adds an entire family component for her that she not only has to pay attention to, take care of, but also apologize for past sins. She becomes a really much bigger character than she was in the first movie. Otherwise, just somebody kind of marrying into a wealthy family that had quirks, worshiping Satan. So, both movies are not to be missed in theaters. Ready or Not 2, more for the camaraderie and the communal of seeing a fun horror movie that was a modest hit the first time. Now you get to see with people who like the first one, and it's a little bit bigger hit. Project Hail Mary, in summation, is a movie that we're going to be talking about for a while. It delivers in all the big ways. It is a cinematic experience that needs to be seen to be believed. and it is the best movie that's come out this year thus far. Got everything you'd want in a big budget, big screen viewing movie that you need to see and enjoy. Rocky is a star, and Ryan Gosling is a star. So we will see everybody next week. We'll see what movies we have next week for you. Thank you for joining me on New Release Friday. Everybody have a great weekend. Go enjoy some movies. There's 2 good ones in theaters, plus still got hoppers and a couple other things still out there. So enjoy. Have a great weekend. We'll see everybody on the network. Remember, Indie Escape Network is your place where creatives unite. Monday, we have Generation Movie with Rich and myself, Rich Dries and myself. Tuesdays, we have Loud and Nerdy, Tuesdays at 9 p.m. And then upcoming also on this Thursday, very big show, Thursday, March 26th at 10 p.m. Riot, Ryan West, and Joe Ridgely will be talking AI. So come with your questions. We're going to have experts in the field of AI. Come talk to them, figure out what's going on. If you have really big questions, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us for Generation Movie New Release Friday. Everybody have a great weekend. Bye.